everybody. Can you hear me? As I am cursed with live streams every time that's the first thing I check. Yes, you can hear me. Perfect. Thank you. All right. Lots of people showed up, more than I would have expected, actually. We're at 800 people here right now. I've followed the chat while I was preparing for the stream, so I've seen all your messages from where you are, and hello to everybody. Yeah, to the friends in the US, good morning. Hope you enjoy your coffee. To the people in Australia that were brave enough to stay up. Yeah, there you go. New Zealand, 3 a.m. in the morning. So well done for staying up for this launch. Over here, it's just perfect in the afternoon. We've got 3 p.m. right here. So I'm lucky this time. Last time I wasn't so much with the presentation. I stayed up until like 6 in the morning or so. Yeah, very nice. Thank you all for showing up. This is so much appreciated. It's so much more fun to watch this with all of you. I've seen that the fairing catch is scrapped. Both ships are back in the harbor. So thanks, Doug, for showing me that. I don't even know why though. I've just looked into. Let me just check on the Discord again. Could be due to weather, I guess, because there was a cold front coming in. Sound is too low. All right, I can get that up. Is that better? Let me just can go a bit closer to the microphone if you like. Yeah, the volume is, there we go. Then now it's all the way up. It should be better now. If it's not, you'll have to turn up your speakers because, as always, I don't know what's going on with the streaming program. All right, perfect. Still low, yeah. Let me check something real quick. Let me see if I can fix this real quick. If I can't, we'll have to deal with this like this. Unless everything's to the max here on the microphone. So that's the loudest I can go. Hope that's better now. Tip top. No, I don't live in German. I do everything I do in English because... Okay, if it's too loud now... All right, more people are saying that is fine now. All right, I'll stay with this. Good. I do everything I do in English because the world is so big and Germany is so small. And if I do it in German, there would be far less people able to watch this. So that's why I do it. And I could also maybe move the microphone a bit further to the here. There you see the microphone, the pop filter. So and it's trying to focus on the Doctor Strange in the background. I've noticed that as well, but we'll manage. We'll manage. All right, let me do something here real quick. Okay, I've got another news. I've noticed that they have two things up here. Let me show you real quick. There you go. That's my desktop on the other screen. And as you can see, SpaceX will be having two streams today. One is the broadcast, the live broadcast, and the other one is going to be mission control audio. So that could be fun. I'm going to try it out. If it's not interesting, we'll turn it off, but we'll see. All right, I'll leave that there for the moment. Yeah, the ships are, another one said it again, the ships are not going to catch the fairings today. I think it's due to weather, because I've seen the weather forecasts, and there was a cold front coming in, and if that cold front is still on the Atlantic Ocean or something, bad weather is going on, and it's going to launch in an hour. Let me see if I can get that timer back for you guys, so we can... So it's 15:52 should be the launch time. 52. There we go. Let me see if I can get that up for you guys again. Not that easy. Should be here. There we go. That should be the launch time, and I'm out of focus again. There you go. 56 UTC, exactly. That should be the time right there. And yeah, I started the stream a bit early, just to have the time to answer some questions, maybe if you've got some, or just talk about Starlink and what's gonna happen today, because I've read through the press kit real quick, and what they said in there. Let me see if I can get that up for you too. There you go. You should be able to see this. This is really interesting. This passage right there. That basically means that they're gonna have service for the whole world in about a year, because they've announced that they're gonna have 20 Starlink launches next year, and if they say, as they say here, 24 will be needed to do a service for the whole planet. Yeah, I'll be their first customer, that's for sure. I'll definitely try it out as soon as it's available over here. And that's pretty amazing that they're going to do 20 launches next year. Is just still incredible to me. That's the benefit if you have in-house rocket launches and in-house satellite production, I guess. Guys, if you have questions for me, please put the what about it tag in front. So type add what about it and then ask your questions, because the chat is going quick enough for me to have problems reading everything. So it'll help if that orange what about it is in front of it, and I can easily answer your questions. Chris is saying Starlink will be direct competition with China's 5G. That is interesting. Yeah, 5G is going to help a lot with the Internet of Things, as you say. It's going to be cheaper than Starlink, that's for sure. But the benefit of Starlink is that you do not need any ground-based equipment besides the receiver. That means you can, if you go to China, you can have internet in Mongolia, and I don't know if the 5G network could do that. That is the interesting aspect of Starlink, is that it's going to be available everywhere. All right, let me see if I can read more questions. We know the prior proxy is saying, we know you love rocket technology, but what do you think about this non-public advanced propulsion system? What do you mean? The non-public advanced propulsion system? Elaborate. I don't know. Albert is saying, what time was the... look at the time. Oh, yeah, the timer's gone. Give me a second. There's your timer. That's when the launch is going to happen. Matthew is saying, do you know where you can buy the kit to connect to Starlink? I bet it's going to be it's going to have its own shop website. It's not up yet, so it's probably going to be an online shop. As I know, Elon Musk's companies, they always try to minimize stores and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was just an online shop where you can order it and get the service. Ja, ich bin in der Lage, Deutsch zu sprechen. Simply. Why did my wife leave me? I don't know, Paul. I wish you the best of luck to get her back. A wife is something really nice. It's bad if she ran away. I don't know. Starlink in China. Will Elon's crew have to filter? They will. I'm pretty sure that they'll have censorship in other countries, but I don't know if you can ban it easily by just prohibiting people from being able to buy the receiver stations, the antennas. Basically, that would be an easy way to block the whole service. But it is going to be censored in a few countries. I'm pretty sure about that, yeah. But on the other hand, it's going to enable the people in these countries that don't have any means of getting unfiltered information. If they can sneak in these antennas, they'll have a way of getting unfiltered internet, because China and whatever other country that wants to censor Starlink won't be able to reach the satellite itself. So if you have the antenna, you have the full Starlink service. So Could be a thing for people in countries that are oppressed and they want to have unfiltered internet access. So could be a good thing. That's a good question, Stephen. Stephen was asking, are they going to be replacing the first 60 sets with these 60 or just keep upgrading? They are going to keep upgrading sets, but I honestly don't know if they are going to still use the prototype satellites. Oh, and by the way, v1-1, thank you very much for the super chat. That's much appreciated. Thank you. Yeah, like I said, they're going to be iterating on the hardware, that's for sure. But I don't know if they're gonna keep using the prototypes. I've heard that the prototypes didn't even have the laser links, but it was just a rumor. I don't know. But if so, you couldn't use them further. But we'll see. We'll see. Don't have any internal information on that, sadly. I would love to. Inrix is saying, can Starlink help communicate between Earth and spaceships? No, it is going to be solely focused on the ground. So the Starlink satellites will be able to receive connection from the ground, and they will be able to send information to the ground and to neighboring satellites in the Starlink constellation. They won't be able to transmit data away from Earth, as I know. I could be wrong, but that's all I know. Don, thank you for the super chat. Much appreciated. To get to that question again, that is actually a pretty good question, because something very similar could be able to communicate with spaceships. So there might be a second constellation. I'm pretty sure if SpaceX manages to colonize Mars or put a base there, they are going to have something similar to Starlink on the planet. But something for on the way would be nice too. So yeah, there's a possibility, but the version they are launching right now is not for communicating with starships or spaceships, where starships actually would be the only spaceships I know of. All right. Yeah, Jean-Noel, Starship Mark 1 mid-December sounds perfect to me. That would be lovely. We'll see. It's a prototype, so you never know what the schedule actually does the next day. Basically, as I said in today's episode, every time I post updates on the test dates, I hope that they're still accurate on the time when the episode is released. So it changes so quick, but yeah. It could be December. Mid-December sounds really nice to me. So yeah, SpaceX, make it happen. How expensive will Starlink be? That is hard to say. It is going to be cheaper than most people expect, because the satellites themselves are being mass-produced in-house. So that lowers the cost. And the most expensive part on that satellite constellation normally is the launch cost. And if they use Starships, so if Starship progresses the way they plan and they have it running by the end of next year or something, and they can further launch Starlink satellites with Starship, that's gonna lower the cost dramatically. But we'll have to see. If they can use Starship, it's gonna be insanely cheap actually, because Elon said on Twitter, like 2 or 3 days ago, I didn't have it on my episode because I don't know, because I've had too much other stuff to show on the episode actually. He said that Starlink launch is going to be Starship launch is going to be $2 million, and you can send 350 something like that Starlink satellites up into orbit with a single Starship launch, and that for $2 million. So the launch costs will be insanely cheap. It's crazy. All right. It's not Starlink related, but it's a good question. Kellum is asking, when do you think Boeing will launch the Starliner with the crew? As it looks right now, and I'm actually pretty surprised after the pad abort test, and it wasn't an in-flight abort test, it was a pad abort test, yeah. After the pad abort test, NASA seems to have given them the go. So, it was planned for December, wasn't it? I don't know off the top of my head, but could be wrong. But wasn't it planned for December? But still, I'm kind of confused after that pad abort test that obviously had some flaws that NASA just said, "Yep, you're good." So it was a pin they forgot on the Starship capsule on the parachute system apparently, but still, and the nitrogen tetroxide steaming out after the service module crashed on the ground, and so on and so on. So I don't know. In my opinion, it was. If you've seen my episode, I've said it fairly drastic. I couldn't say it more drastic on the episode, but I think it's they could do better than that. And if I were NASA, I would make them repeat the test. But that's NASA. They got to decide. All right. Time Baron is asking, am I planning to visit any launches? Yes, in March, CRS 20. I'm gonna be at KSC. It's fairly sure by now that I will be there, and I'm definitely gonna do a meetup. So for all the American viewers right now enjoying their morning coffee, I might be able to meet you in March. The launch is planned for March 1st right now, but that's a thing that's gonna change probably. But whenever the launch is going to happen, I'll be around and I'll make sure to have a meetup. And I'd be more than happy to meet you all. Everybody who can make it, that would be really nice. Wow, you have a lot of questions today. Let me see. Joao Arthur is asking, any idea of the size of the Starlink's receptor? Yes, Elon Musk already said that it's going to be the size of a pizza box, as I remember he said. So it is going to be fairly small, like a satellite dish, something like that. But it is going to be, he answered that question on Twitter because somebody asked him if Teslas would have Starlink connections, which would be awesome. But he said that the first iteration of the antennas would be too big, aka the size of a pizza box. So yeah, that's about it. But he's already planning to make them smaller, of course. And if he can, he will. Wow, you've got lots of questions, guys. Is there still plans to try to recover the first stage today? No. No, yeah, of course. First stage is going to be recovered. It's going to have a landing at LZ2, I think. Let me check. First stage entry burn, first stage landing. Okay, it doesn't say. Does anybody know the landing zone? LZ1, LZ2? I don't know. But oh no, it's gonna be, of course, I Still Love You, of course. So it's gonna be downrange landing. I'm sorry. Yeah, but they're gonna recover the booster, of course, as every time they try, and normally they succeed. So yeah, it's gonna be, of course, I Still Love You. Of course, it's gonna be. Do you think it's safe to say, safe to have 40K that can create a lot of space garbage? Yeah. I had an episode about that. Actually, LEO is really big, and it's going to be thousands of square kilometers that each satellite has for itself. And as it said in the press kit as well, which was really informative, I might give you a link here after the episode, after the live stream or so, or Google it real quick. They are going to be the v1 version Starlink satellites that are being shot up this time. They are specially optimized to be able to burn up completely in the atmosphere, and they're not that high up, so they have, even if the deorbit mechanism, which every Starlink satellite has, fails, they stay up for like a maximum, I think I've researched it before, like 5 years or so. So in theory, it could cause a problem. In practice, though, it shouldn't, really. So we'll have to see how that evolves. But and I can understand the concerns, because it's going to be insane. Like, I had it on an episode that it's going to be 22 times the satellites that are operational in orbit right now if Starlink is being shot up, which is crazy, in my opinion. But if he pulls that off without any trouble, without any problem, it's going to be a great benefit for the planet itself, because internet connection worldwide, everywhere, broadband, low latency is going to change the world like probably most people can't imagine right now, because there are so many use cases for that. All right. What's your Fridolin says, what's your favorite thing you have in your merch? There is an all over print long sleeve that has been up for a week or so now. In the front, it has the Raptor with the Raptor Evolution. And it has a What About It logo on the side, and it has a little Starman here down on the back, and I really, really like that one. I made it myself. I haven't even got it here. I ordered the sample, and it should be here in a week or so, so then you can see it on an episode. I really like all over prints, so that's the first one I'm making, and I hope it turned out really good. Moritz, thank you very much for the super chat. And you're very welcome. You're very welcome. It's nice to hear that you're taking so much knowledge out of my episodes. That's the reason why I'm making them. So thank you for the super chat. Mustang Matt, the gang at Le Padre say hello. Woo! Hey, Le Padre! Good afternoon. I mean, good morning for you, probably. It's a joy to have you here. Hope all of you are watching the live stream, and I don't know how many hours I spent on Le Padre's live stream. So big shout out to Le Padre and the crew, and it's really nice to have you here. Thank you. Mania C646 is saying, do you think we ever going to see a double or triple launch in the probably near future? What do you mean? And this on the same day with Starship? Yeah, Starship would make that possible. What did Elon say? Three launches a day or something like that, or even I think for Starship itself was 3, and for the booster it was 8 or 9 or something on the same day. So that would be possible. Yeah. And it will probably happen because it's going to be so cheap, and he's going to send up a lot of Starships for his projects. So yeah. Shaktivik, I hope I butchered that correctly. What about it? Why are no satellites above the poles, and in which city do you live? There are no satellites above the poles because there wouldn't be that many customers. I think there are few research bases that are up there above the polar circle, and the few people that are up there wouldn't probably justify sending up satellites and providing service up there. So I don't know why SpaceX did it, but that's what I would say. It's just not feasible. It's not practical, and it's not worth it to provide broadband internet to the North Pole. Well, Santa would benefit, but who else? So Bruce, Starlink is the target to begin servicing area with low SRVC levels, or is testing going to be first target to already well-serviced areas to gauge the load? There are no specs on it. You asked it yourself. The only thing we know, and the only thing I know right now, is the latest info from the press kit, and the press kit said 24 launches until you have service worldwide, and 6 launches until you have, what did they say, is targeted to offer service in parts of the US and Canada after 6 launches. So parts of the US and Canada after 6 launches. Anything else, we don't know. So we'll have to wait and see, basically. T. Samuels, thank you very much for the super chat. Have you heard anything about the U.S. allowing foreigners to fly to Mars from the United States? Well, I don't think they'd have a problem with it because we're sending. We've been sending astronauts to the ISS with space shuttles, and they came from all over the world. And I'm pretty sure if SpaceX does it, and they will, because they can't just send Americans to Mars. They will probably not find enough people in the beginning if they just pick Americans. So and I think Elon Musk would want to have an international team of people going to Mars. So I wouldn't see why not. Would be kind of strange. 18max2573 is asking, do you think Starlink will be visible in the sky like for the first time? Yes, I do. Especially when they're not at their altitude yet. I'm pretty sure they're going to be visible. And to be honest, I mean, I'm a hobby astronomer, as you can see there, and I don't really like that Starlink is going to destroy the night sky, but it probably will. It's 40,000 satellites, and especially with astrophotography, visual astronomy won't have that much of an impact on it, but astrophotographers will get really annoyed with Starlink satellites putting stripes into their pictures, because with astrophotography sometimes you have to take 20 pictures, every single one exposed for, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes, and you got to be lucky to not have a Starlink satellite in the picture then. So that could be bad. Jean-Marc, thank you very much for the super chat. Your spaceman needs to do more in the background of your vlogs. The problem is that everything on my episodes is work, basically. Even the little starman needs attention, and I would love to have him animated, like do actual stuff or wave his hand and not just do like this. But it would turn into a lot of work only on the starman, and to be honest, for me it's more important to have good information, and even there I sometimes have mistakes because I just the schedule is tight on what about it. So the Starman will stay as he is until I find an animator who says, yeah, I'm willing to do it for free every week, and then we can do that. But before, it's gonna be like it is. But I like him still. It's really hard to keep track with your questions, guys. I'm gonna have to do another hour after the launch to answer all of them. Thank you very much for showing up. Could just flip 1 or 2 nodes for space. They could, yeah. Free Jemmy is saying they could just flip 1 or 2 nodes for space communication, as I think that's what you wanted to say, and they could, yeah. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that Starlink is going to find a place somehow in interstellar travel, because it's just the logical conclusion to also use it if it's needed, to not just use it to go down to the planet, but also to go up. And if they can, they will. I'm pretty sure. Tyler, do you think Starship will land on the moon or Mars first? I'm pretty sure it's going to be on the moon first, but I've also heard Robert Zubrin say that the thrust output from the Raptors would be so strong on landing that actual regolith from the moon it could be possible that it would be thrown into orbit around the moon, because the moon has such a low gravity force. So if they can figure that out, and they're already actively working on propulsive landing on the moon, if they can figure it out, it's definitely going to be the first thing is going to be the moon, because that's a perfect test candidate. And then comes Mars. At least that's what I would do, and I think that's what's going to happen. Will Starlink affect rocket launches? How so? They're going to launch into Starlink. Oh, I was thinking Starship. It could, but it shouldn't. The same thing as with the satellite collisions. SpaceX will know where each satellite is at each time, and so it should be pretty easy to just calculate a trajectory through it. So I don't think so. And if it would, there would be organizations stepping in, saying you can't do that because we won't be able to launch or access space anymore. So to us, not involved in the project, it might seem like that, but I don't think so. I couldn't imagine that it's going to cause trouble for rocket launches or for other satellites or. I think they've got it covered. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it, I think. Joao Arthur is saying, don't you think that 40K satellites can congest the orbit? Yeah, like I said, I think they could, and that's the thing. That's the first thing you imagine when you don't really know anything about it. You think, okay, could be. But then on the other hand, let me just check something real quick so I'm not missing out here. Everything's still dark. Okay. Like I said, the specialists behind the projects will have run the numbers, and if they would have found that it could cause trouble, they wouldn't allow them to do it. I'm pretty sure that's how it would be. Where is Starlink getting its internet access from to provide to customers? From ground-based stations. Each Starlink satellite has the capability to link down, and the same as the customers link up to the Starlink satellites and the Starlink satellites link down to their antennas, the same is with the access points and the servers. Basically, you just have an antenna that is connected to the servers, and they provide the data to the Starlink satellites and so on and so forth. And each satellite is interlinked, so each satellite can reach every satellite on the globe through a chain of other satellites, and that's how it all links up. And what is the lifespan of a Starlink satellite? That is a good question, and I don't know. But I'd say it's about the same as every other satellite, so it should be between 5 and 15 years, roughly. But I don't have hard numbers on it. I can't tell. Mania is saying, you think they ever will launch 2 or more rockets with Starlink at the same time? If they can, they will. Like I said, starships. Starship could be the key to that, definitely. So, yeah, if they can, they will. Scrappy Human, thank you very much for the super chat. That's much appreciated. I can finance my coffee with that. Thank you. Simply P is asking, do you think it is likely that today's launch will be a failure? I hope not. And it's unlikely. There are, as always, with every rocket launch, there are many, many, many ways something can fail. But so far, so good. The Falcon 9 has been a very reliable launch vehicle, and we shouldn't see an RUD. If it stays within the statistics, we shouldn't see an RUD. So, fingers crossed. Jean-Noel, thank you very much for the super chat. That's much appreciated. And we have a question from Jean-Noel. I would like to know how I can give... Oh, yeah, there you go. You managed. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you very much. Cullum is asking, when do you think the Dragon launch abort will take place? December. Wasn't it already scheduled for December or something? Let me just check something on my trusty resources. Because that is a good question. That is the Falcon mission, but it should be in here. And it isn't. My trusty resources. I think it was planned for December. If anybody knows, answer the question. I don't know off the top of my head, and it's just 18 minutes until the launch, so I don't want to go into Google Foo here. But I think it was December. I'm not too sure. I'm sorry. How many reuses does SpaceX plan to do for each recovered fairing? Yeah, that's the question I asked on my latest episode. You probably haven't watched it yet. I don't know. And it would be nice to know how many times you can reuse these fairings, because they are expensive. And the Falcon 9 is at its limit with reusability. So the upper stage, I'm pretty sure, will never be reusable. So that's the one thing that they can still lower the costs with. And the more they can use the fairings, the lower the costs go. So hopefully a lot. I'm not sure, though, because in the separation videos, like on the last episode, you can see them wobble quite a bit when they get separated. And then they go through a re-entry process, and they get caught by the ships and so on. Could be material problems after a while, but I'd say at least 3, 4, 5 launches, something like that. Yeah, that would be awesome. Christoph, thank you for the super chat. And he should. If you can teach him, I'll give you his phone number. No, I don't know. Yeah, it would be fun. But like I said, the Starman is another bit of work, and he's going to stay the way he is. No floss dancing. Even though it would be cool. Today, now that we had that. All right. How many reuses? We had that. Jean-Noel, please. That we got that. Jeff Mason, can you repeat the launch you plan to attend? CRS 20 in March. Kennedy Space Center. It's going to be LC 40, I think. And I'll definitely be there. I'm probably going to be watching from the LC39A viewing galley, I think it's called. I've never been to the space center, to the Kennedy Space Center, so I'm so much looking forward to not only the launch, of course, to the launch, but also to seeing the whole area and checking out the progress on Blue Origin. Hopefully, I'm gonna definitely try to go around Roberts Road to see what SpaceX is doing there, and the main Blue Origin facility and all that kind of stuff. I'm so looking forward to go to Kennedy Space Center, and if I am lucky, I'll be going down to Brownsville as well. After that, after Kennedy Space Center, I'm gonna go visit a friend of mine for 2 or 3 days in Maryland, and then hopefully from Baltimore, I'll take a flight down to Texas and see the Starship. And I'm so much looking forward to that. I've talked to a lot of locals already, and they're happy to have me, and it's going to be a blast if it happens. I can't say 100% yet. KSC is going to be 100%, but Brownsville, we'll see. It's the budget is the problem. So give me super chats, and I'll go see the Starship. All right. What about it? Pro-gamer is asking, if you had the chance, would you go to Mars? I've had that question asked many times, and I'll answer it again. No, because I have family. I have 3 kids and a wife, and a trip to Mars is 2 years minimum and dangerous, and I wouldn't want to leave my family. If I was solo and nothing that holds me on the planet, might. Still not likely though, because Mars is going to be so difficult in the beginning. You can't imagine. Maybe you can imagine, but it's going to be really, really difficult. It's not going to be like in The Martian where you put some poop and potatoes in the ground and you're good to go. It's going to be really, really tough, very, very dangerous. 2 years of solitary confinement on another planet. I don't know. Moon, though. If starships will one day provide launches to the moon to the public, I might want to do that. Yeah, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. That would be great, definitely. But Mars, not so much. But I'm definitely looking forward to the first colonists going there and reporting what they're doing. That would be an awesome thing to do. Yeah, definitely. K9 Rocket Technologies, really nice Nick, is asking, how many reuses does SpaceX plan to do for each recovered fairing? Okay, we had that already. Yeah, like I said, 4, 5, 6, something like that. Samuel Carvalho, why can't we use parachutes instead of constantly using fuel to slow down the boosters? Because parachutes are not the perfect solution. SpaceX has found a very good solution in landing burns, which is much more precise. Parachutes, I'm a paramotor pilot, and I tell you that a parachute or a paraglider is hard to control, not precise, and nothing really good to return precisely to a landing zone. So the rocket with its grid fin system has much more precision in it, and it's fully reusable. Parachutes can't be reused. I mean, you can as a skydiver, but when a parachute has done a re-entry, it's not safe to reuse them. So, and yeah, the boost back is the better technology, and it doesn't use up that much fuel either. It's a very, very short burn with tanks almost empty when the booster lands again. So it's not that bad. And it's definitely the better solution than parachutes. That's the reason why SpaceX gave out their parachute research for free, because they know that with a Starship, they won't need these parachutes anymore. So, where does Starlink... Okay, Mitchell is asking, where does Starlink get its internet? Oh, we had that already. We had that. I've answered that. It's going to be from ground stations. Matthew... Would you be wanting to go to the moon or Mars given the chance? I've answered that. I'd love to go to the moon. Mars, not so much, because it's too dangerous and I don't want to miss my family. Fridolin, who do you look up to for inspiration? That is a good question. Um, Actually, might sound cheesy, but the first person I would name is Elon Musk because he's doing something nobody else is doing. Honestly, some people compare him to people like Steve Jobs, but no, it's not a good comparison in my opinion. It might look the same, but he's really doing groundbreaking stuff. And in my opinion, iPhones weren't a groundbreaking thing. It was something that changed the world, but not in the way a Mars colony or going to electric cars and putting more solar on our roofs and all that kind of stuff. It's just it's remarkable. He works insane amounts of time each week on projects that improve the world, and I think that is great, to be honest. And so Elon Musk would be the number one person I would name, actually. Yeah, and then my mom and my dad, of course, and my wife. And they don't come in second because they're something different. But yeah, Elon Musk, definitely. Brandon, will the latency of Starlink be good enough for VoIP? Yes, it will be better than internet, than normal ground-based internet. That's the crazy thing. Even though it's a satellite, the connection is much shorter because when you have, like everybody here watching the stream right now, probably, you have a ground-based internet connection that goes through wires, and these wires are not straight. They go crazy ways. If you could see that, you would ask yourself why you have to send your internet connection so far to reach a point that is like 20 miles away, the next remote computer, but the cable itself will be 100 or 200 or 300 miles long because it winds through streets and goes everywhere until it's there. And the satellite, you send your signal through the antenna upwards 500 kilometers to the satellite, and then it goes straight to the next continent. It just does this zigzag through the satellites, but that is still a much shorter connection, and so the internet is faster. It's less delay than on a ground-based internet, which is crazy. Because normally satellite internet has latency problems, huge latency problems, but Starlink won't. So yeah, it's something that's going to change the world. Fridolin, what's your opinion about ion drives? Perfect thing for interplanetary probes. Lightweight crafts that need to go a long distance and that have time to accelerate because there's no person on it. But for anything crude, power is not big enough. You would have to have a really, really large ion drive, and I haven't seen one yet. It should be possible, but chemical rockets are still the best thing. Nuclear propulsion would be really nice, but we don't have that yet. So ion drives, yeah, really nice thing if you have a probe that you want to accelerate. For crude, it's not powerful enough. Not yet. Might be though. Motovlog music. Thank you for watching the stream. I see you every time on the comments. Very nice of you to be here. Do you have any concerns about Starlink crowding LEO? Yeah, we had that question before. I think if there will have been many experts checking Starlink and if it could be dangerous. And if it was, I'm pretty sure they would have said no, and they haven't. So let's hope the best, basically. It's going to be a lot of satellites, and there can be trouble, but they haven't said no. So it's hard to say something different than a lot of scientists that have worked on the thing. That's what I would say. So it shouldn't. I hope it won't. Let me just check something real quick. 1 second. Yeah, there we go. We have our mission control stream up, and we have the SpaceX stream up. I'm going to put that up here. Give me a second. There we go. All right, I put myself a little bit in the corner, and I'm going to let her talk for a moment. Can you hear this? I'm working on the audio. 1 second. Should be. Just 1 second.
Engine chill will begin. This is where we allow a small amount of the super chilled liquid oxygen to flow into the Merlin engine turbo pumps prior to the full flow of liquid oxygen into the vehicle to avoid any shocks to the system. Finally, at T-minus 4.5 minutes, the transporter erector will retract away from the rocket slightly, and that'll provide clearance for Falcon 9 to lift off of the launch pad. As for the spacecraft, the Starlink satellites remain powered down until just after separation from the second stage, which will occur roughly an hour after liftoff. If you watched our first satellite launch, then you may recall that the Starlink satellites are stacked flat on top of each other and then are released simultaneously during payload deploy, followed by orbit raising. Prior to orbit raise, SpaceX engineers will conduct data reviews to ensure the Starlink satellites are operating as intended. As we noted prior to the launch, we're keeping an eye on one of the satellites that may not orbit raise. If for any reason a satellite is not performing as expected, SpaceX will deorbit the spacecraft. The components of each satellite are fully demisable and are expected to quickly burn up in the Earth's atmosphere, a measure that exceeds all current safety standards. Once the health checkouts are complete, the satellites will then use their onboard ion thrusters, powered by Krypton, to propel themselves to an altitude of 350 kilometers. Now let's take a look at the weather. And it looks like we have some great weather this morning over there in Cape Canaveral. There's a very small chance of showers and some clouds with only a 20% chance of launch violation. So we will continue to monitor this all the way down to T-minus 0 to ensure that the weather remains good for launch, but it's looking great over there. The Air Force range is prepared to support today's mission. Waters are clear of any ships and the range continues to ensure the safety of our launch. We are continuing to count down to liftoff, but if for any reason we do have to call a hold on today's launch, we have a backup opportunity tomorrow, November 12th at 9:34 a.m. Eastern Time. But at this time, all systems are go for an on-time liftoff, approximately 8 minutes from now.
So for those of you who don't already know, Starlink is SpaceX's effort to bring high-speed, low-latency broadband internet to people across the globe, particularly to areas where connectivity has been unreliable, too expensive, or completely unavailable. Most satellite internet services today come from geostationary.
All right, I'm going to turn her down a little bit because she's saying things we already know. All right, first of all, I want to thank you guys for the super chats you sent. Mishu Cohen, thank you very much. Warhawk, Gwynny, there you go. Yeah, there you can see the Starlink animation again. I've had that with Marcus House. He was working on an animation where he had 40,000 planned satellites in that animation, and it is insane to see that. So if they actually manage to pull that off, the orbit is going to be very crowded. I'm not going to answer further questions here for now, but I will after the launch, so stay tuned for that. Right now we're just trying to keep up with the launch. Engine chill has just begun, and yep, we saw that. I had that on the episode. Elon Musk sent a tweet through the Starlink system. That's the first thing he did. Amazing, the guy. All right, let me check something real quick. I'll turn her up real quick again.
Look at our team. Hi, guys. The Redmond team, along with their counterparts across the company, have implemented a number of upgrades for today's mission, including doubling the number of steerable phased array broadband beams, a 400% increase in data throughput per satellite, and the inclusion of a new Ka-band antenna system. Between the satellite upgrades, the first reflight of a fairing today, and this being the first first fourth flight of a Falcon 9, there's a ton of cool stuff happening on today's mission, with liftoff just a few minutes from now.
Currently 4.5 minutes from liftoff, Falcon 9 is moving into the final stages of the countdown. The first and second stages are both nearly fully loaded with 1 million pounds of kerosene fuel and liquid oxygen. First stage should finish propellant loading at T-minus 3 minutes and second stage at T-minus 2 minutes. At T-minus 60 seconds, be sure to listen in to the call out for Falcon 9 in startup. This means that the rocket's autonomous internal flight computers have...
All right, I'm turning her down real quick again because I found another question that I would like to answer. Fridolin is asking, do you play... no, not Fridolin. Fridolin, I do play Kerbal Space Program, but I wanted to answer... Jeff, will you be putting together an agenda, etc., so we can plan to meet you? Yes, I will. It's going to be a while still, because it's going to be end of February that I'll be traveling to Florida, but I will definitely get a schedule. I'll have a location where we can meet, and I'm already planning what location that could be. There are 2 or 3 different ones that I have put into the inner circle. So yeah, I'll try to organize it as much as I can. There won't be any live program that evening, of course, but I'm very much looking forward to meeting you. So anybody here in the Florida area or close enough to reach end of February, I'm planning to go down there, and I'll definitely do a meetup. I just wanted to say that again. Okay, so she just gave a general summary of what Starlink's going to do and so on. I've seen a few more good questions, actually. I'm trying to put them in before the launch because we have 3 minutes 50. Maybe I shouldn't. No, maybe I shouldn't. I'll answer more questions after or in between when the schedule has a little bit more room than just 3 minutes 40 seconds, because this is going to be exciting now, and hopefully we're not going to have any problems today. Look at that thing. And the fairing that is sitting on top has already been used. It's amazing that, like, what, 80% of that rocket sitting on the launch mount has already been used, and the booster has its 4th reuse today, I think, which is another record. 1048, I think it's booster 1048. They got rid of the isolation for the upper stage again. At one flight they had this gray isolation stuff on the outside of the upper stage, and they got rid of that again. Never said anything if it worked or not. Would have loved to have some information on that. Let me just scroll down in the chat a bit here. 4th use, 3rd reuse, exactly. Yep. Which is insane in my opinion. That is so good. It's crazy how much that lowers the cost. They recently lowered the Falcon 9 launch costs to 50 million. Greetings from Greece. Nice. Hello. Yep, 2 minutes 20 to go. Oh, that's why you're asking. Why can't you see it? You should be able to see it. That is strange. There you go. But that is not the way I want it. Oh, I know why. That is because... that's funny. I'll have to figure it out next time. Okay, the reason why you can't see the countdown timer is because that monitor is running on a 1440p resolution, and the broadcast is just in 1920 by 1080. How am I going to fix that? Can at least make... I can't see like this either. That is funny. See, every time I have something. This is not good. Very suboptimal. Let me see if I can change the... There we go, that should do. I fixed it. That was a first though. There you go, thank you very much. Should be better now. Whew. just before launch. That would have been something. I didn't even notice because I watched it on the other monitor. Yeah, no pressure. No pressure. I'm using German Windows, of course. Everything on my PC is in German. Yeah, the stream sound is a bit lower because...
LD is go for launch.
There you go. Go for launch.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 30 seconds.
Mute my microphone now for the time being.
T-minus 15 seconds. T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Liftoff.
Ignition.
With gratitude.
Liftoff. With gratitude to our veterans today and always. Go USA.
Falcon 9 is pitching downrange.
Stage 1 profit is nominal. Power and telemetry is nominal.
We are T plus 55 seconds into launch, and we've had a on-time liftoff and a beautiful view of the Falcon 9 vehicle making its way to orbit. We are coming up in about 10 seconds here on max Q. That is the maximum aerodynamic pressure that the vehicle will see during ascent. We should be able to hear that call out.
Vehicle's experiencing maximum aerodynamic pressure.
And there's that call out for max Q. Coming up next is a rapid succession of events, starting off with main engine cutoff, or what we call MECO, followed immediately by stage separation. That's the separation of the first stage from the second stage. And then seconds after will be the lighting of our second stage engine, which we call second engine startup, or SES-1. That is coming up here in about 45 seconds.
And back engine chill.
And we've got a great view this morning with some pretty clear blue skies, the Earth in the background. Now, if you're just now joining us, we are 30 seconds away from main engine cutoff, stage separation, and SES-1.
If you look down there at the ocean, right now in the picture, you can see the reason why they're not gonna catch the fairings. That looked like a storm front right there.
What you see on your screen, you should be able to see the stages separate. About 10 seconds here.
MECO.
Stage separation confirmed.
There, as you saw on your left screen, we had MECO and stage separation. On your right screen, we should see that second engine startup. And there's that second stage engine glowing bright red. Coming up next in about 30 seconds is fairing deployment. Now, a reminder, this fairing is being flown for a second time, which is a first in SpaceX history. What you can see on your screen, on the left screen, those grid fins have been deployed. And there is our fairing deployment. This is the first reflight of our fairing, so such an exciting mission this morning already.
All right, want to say something real quick. That looked really different than the first stack of Starlink satellites, so that could be interesting.
As the second stage continues to orbit with those 60 Starlink satellites on top, stage 1 is making its way home for the 4th time. Now, stage 1 is going to execute 2 burns before hopefully it's standing there on our drone ship. The first one will be the entry burn, which occurs at about T plus 6 minutes and 23 seconds, so a little over 2 minutes from now. That's where we're going to relight 3 of those Merlin engines and slow the vehicle down such that it can safely re-enter the atmosphere. From there, the booster will coast for just under a minute and a half, and then execute what is called the landing burn. That is where we're going to reignite a single engine, that E9 engine right in the middle of the booster, slowing the vehicle down to 0 velocity, hopefully standing right there up on the drone ship.
So I'll turn her down for a moment. Yeah, it's like I just said, when they opened up the fairing, it looked quite different than the first set of Starlink satellites. I've seen that footage many times, and it looked thinner and in general different. So that should be interesting to see on separation. Booster is on its way.
A minute away from that entry burn. Meanwhile, stage 1 continues to make its way down. That MVAC engine is powering that second stage of those satellites with 250,000 pounds of thrust.
Yeah, it's amazing. Every time I see this, and I've seen it so many times, it's amazing to see that booster coast back. And
about 20 seconds on that entry burn. You should be able to see that on the left side of your screen. Meanwhile, stage 2 continues to burn nominally.
Stage 1 FTS is saved.
Stage 1 entry burn.
As you see, that entry burn has begun.
looks like a good burn. What would be interesting to see is how far away the fairings land and how far away the booster lands. I've never checked that. Is that big of a difference?
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
As you just heard, we had a
How far
successful shutdown of that entry
downrange?
burn. So for about another minute and a half, stage 1 is going to coast, making its way down to the drone ship. And at
First
T plus
and second stage continue to follow a nominal trajectory.
and in just under a minute, that landing burn should start.
Somebody's asking if it's burning smokier than usual. Yeah, maybe. A little bit. But it should be exactly the same. So it's not a problem.
Stage 1 transonic.
Doesn't look like it though. Looks nominal to me. The engine bell on the upper stage is radiation cooled. That's the reason why it's heating up so red, to be able to transfer the heat away from the engine bell. And it is not an ablatively cooled
And in just
engine
10
bell.
seconds, that landing burn should start. Hopefully we'll get some nice on-vehicle video.
I see even sparks.
Stage 1 landing burn.
It could be the
We
lighting.
don't have that video just yet, but that landing burn has started.
Second stage has entered terminal guidance.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
It looks like we're not going to get video on the way down. Oh, but we have the drone ship. And
Yes.
wow,
There we go.
the Falcon has landed for the 4th time.
Amazing.
Stage 2
Amazing.
FTS is saved.
These boosters
Just
are designed
amazing.
to be used 10 times. Let's turn it around for a 5th, guys. Wow. 4th landing. That is super cool. So stage 2, I believe, we have had
Oh,
CL1.
nice. Lox tank cam.
We're going to enter a coast phase. Before we do that, we're going to take a quick break. Sorry, it's very exciting over here. As we leave, we're going to have an animation that shows you where we are in the coast phase. But we're going to be back here at T plus 44 minutes.
All right. That unstable link is going to change too when they have Starlink on Of Course I Still Love You. I'm looking forward to that.
Come on back.
So they're going to take a break now. I'll turn this down a little bit so we can hear when they start talking again. But yeah, that looked like a clean operation to me. Perfect landing. Everything good so far. And I think the smoky engine exhaust is just from the lighting. Every time you see these upper stage footages, the light comes from a different direction. And I think it's just the sun that changes this. Let me just real quick change this to this. Yep, it's good. All right. Okay. And where exactly can you see that the Earth is not a disk? Lone. You can see it in that animation right there. That is a really nice CGI animation showing you that flat Earth doesn't exist. I'm not gonna do any flat Earth arguments on this channel, and I will never in an episode, because anybody who thinks that the Earth is flat, that's okay. I don't. And I will not explain. There are many YouTubers who try every time, again and again, explain that it is a round Earth, but that's nothing we answer on this channel. And I think if I know who you are, then I know why you asked this question, but I'm not too sure. So let me see if I can get some more of the questions that I didn't answer before, because this is going to take a moment. So yep. The number of uses of the fairings might depend on the conditions at the landing site. Rob said that, and I agree. That's what I meant. It depends on when you can see the material weakening, and they'll check that with X-rays probably if there are any microfractures in the aluminum structure, and if there are, they'll probably use new fairings. But it should be fairly often. I think at least 3, 4, 5 times you could reuse these fairings, and I think that would be useful. The flatheads, yeah. Like I said, everybody can believe what they want, but I'm not gonna bother answering these questions on this channel. I've made a flat galaxy society though, for everybody who believes in a flat Earth and can also believe in a flat galaxy, which is not completely right, but much more true. You can join the it's right over there, the Flat Galaxy Society. I got that for you. Let me check something real quick here. Oh my god. Okay, we have 1,230 people watching this right now. Thank you very, very much for tuning in. That is still, for me, it's an incredible honor to get so much reception on YouTube, and I'm not used to it. And every time I sit down for one of these live streams, I'm sitting here in front of the camera, everything's still dark, and I'm thinking, oh my god, here we go again. And every time I enjoy what I'm doing. If you have the time, click the like button, because the rocket's not doing anything right now except for gaining altitude and getting into orbit. And like I said, thank you very much for joining. This is incredible. I'm really happy to have you. All right, let me switch this screen back to this one. There we go. Loan, again. At some point, I want to buy one. You got my address. Yeah, all right. You're the guy I thought you were. You can get one for free for Christmas. I'll give you one. Thanks for joining the stream, by the way. Paul, you're very welcome. Thank you very much for joining. It's like I said, every time it's a humbling experience. Every time I see that I have like 50,000 views on an episode or something, it is 5 months ago I was the guy watching Space Tubers. Now I'm a space tuber, which is insane. Thank you for watching, thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing, for becoming patrons and all that kind of stuff. It's so much appreciated. I mean everything I say every time at the end of the episodes. It's incredible to me. And if you have questions, put the orange tag in front so I can identify them quickly, because this is racing again. Hong Ji Liu, I hope I said that right. My question seems to not been answered 15 minutes ago. I'm sorry, we had lots of stuff to do. Will Starlink satellites interfere with scientific apparatuses that collect data from space, since the satellites emit radio waves? They are going to use the K band. I am not that into different radio bands, so I can't tell you honestly, but what I've heard before, but I can't even tell you if that is correct, is that radio telescopes on the ground could get trouble. I think space-based stuff will be fine because the satellites transmit their radio signals down to the ground, but I can't honestly tell you anything about radio astronomy and how Starlink would affect it. I hope it doesn't, because that is one of our best ways to reach deep into the universe, and if that would get covered by broadband internet, that wouldn't be good. So I hope it's gonna be little to no effect. That would be good. Daniel, thank you very much for the super chat. I do not have a What About It website yet, but I'm working on it. Like I said earlier, there's a lot of stuff you have to manage with the YouTube channel. Believe me, that's a lot of work, and the website was lower on the priority list. Now that I've fixed a lot of the stuff I wanted to have fixed, the website is slowly gaining positions on that list. It's not on top yet, but eventually I'll have a website as well. But I have a merchandise store, and I actually put a lot of stuff into the community section. Not well, as I have time and as it doesn't fit into the episodes, I post regularly on the community section on the YouTube channel. And if you become a patron for $1 a month, you can join the Discord, where there is a lot of stuff going on there. It's a thriving community of lots of nice people from all around the world discussing the episodes, discussing everything else that is not in the episodes, and it's a direct contact to me because I'm online there almost every day, and I'm also in the voice chats, so you can actually talk to me and all that kind of stuff. So if you have that $1 a month, join the patron and you'll have the best access you can basically get to What About It. But the website, it'll come though. It'll come. It's on the list, but I can't tell you when it's gonna come. Free Jimmy says, gonna hit 1 million subs in less than a year for sure. All right. I don't think so. That would be nice. But honestly, I'm happy with how it is going right now. It's been insanely fast, and like I said, it's a humbling experience for me still. I don't know if I ever get used to it, so it doesn't have to be a million subscribers. It has to be 23,500 subscribers who really like my show. That is enough. So we'll see how far it goes. About time we put the radio telescopes on the back of the moon. I agree. That is something that Starship could actually accomplish, and it would be something awesome to happen. The backside, for everybody else who doesn't know about this, the backside of the moon basically is one of the best places to put any sort of telescopes, because it is, well, it is one of the best places. There are other really good places like the Lagrange 2 point, where they're going to shoot the James Webb telescope. That is going to be very good too, but the back of the moon would be really nice as well, because it has a ground. And on the ground, it's always easier to build a telescope. So Starship might enable us to send really, really big telescopes to the moon. That would be really nice. It doesn't have any atmosphere. It's a really good place for a telescope. Where can I find high-res pictures of your artwork? First of all, most of it is not my artwork. Here comes the shout-out. It's Moony Sky's artwork. It's a very, very talented young artist from northern Germany. It was random that she also is German. I didn't specifically look for a German, and she does most of the artwork. There are no high-resolution versions of the artwork available because it's sold as merchandise. Because if the internet had high resolution art versions of the artwork, they would start copying it. So there is nothing available. But if you like the artwork, maybe consider getting a Christmas present. They're all in the merchandise store. Nobody expected the Spanish Inquisition. Exactly. Do you think people of our age will own space balls? I am not too sure. But I think people of our age will change space if SpaceX manages to get to the stars, if SpaceX really manages to be able to be a ride to Mars. Our generation and the generation that is growing up right now will be the first to actually have the opportunity to do something in space, to not just plant a flag and get some samples, but actually to do meaningful stuff. That is what I'm looking forward to the most with the Starship program. Thank you, Scott. That is very, very much appreciated. Fridolin, thank you very, very much. That the support is much appreciated. That the patron actually is a vital source of funding for the channel. So every dollar, everybody who is willing to give something, it has a very special place in my heart, because that is something. It is for free, and you're still spending money on it, and that is much appreciated. So thank you very much. You have to pay extra because you're in Denmark? That is strange. Maybe look into the FAQ on Patreon, because I haven't heard of that yet. I do have updates with Blue Origin. Actually, Dave, who was in the chat earlier, I don't know if he's still there. He's a patron, and he works very close to the Kennedy Space Center, and he takes pictures for me often. And he said, oh no, he can't be in the chat right now, because earlier on he said he's going to watch the launch. And he also said that he's going to try to check on the progress of Blue Origin, and if the pictures are good, and if there's anything new to tell, you'll see it in the next episode. That's for sure, because I know there's lots of push against Blue Origin from SpaceX fans, but in my opinion, the more people, the more competition you have, the better it will be, because they will get each other to work harder and do more innovation. So I'm all for Blue Origin. If they might be a little late with their New Glenn rocket, but still, it's a valid concept, and I'm really hoping that Blue Origin will succeed with New Glenn, and later on with New Armstrong. So I'm very much interested in their progress. Yes. I wouldn't mind coming down to Brazil either, Devon, but I'm not planning to go down to Brazil. Brazil is very far away, and there are the space industry. The stuff that I'm interested in is in French Guiana, in the United States, and in New Zealand. So that's the places I'm going to visit first for What About It. And the first thing is going to be Kennedy Space Center in March, and later on then hopefully New Zealand, but that's far out. I'll have to see if I got the funds for that, but that's because that's even further away from Germany than the United States is, where you can actually get fairly cheap flights, but New Zealand is far away, so we'll see if I can manage to do that. Hopefully, though. I will definitely try to pay a visit to Rocket Lab, because what they're doing is really interesting as well, especially the helicopter recovery they're planning right now and all that kind of stuff. It's really, really nice. Nobody expected the Spanish Inquisition, by the way. That is a really cool nickname. You said was asking, do you think we'll continue to evolve propulsion technology for space ship technology? We will constantly improve technology on all fronts, of course. What's interesting about that is that Gwen Shotwell recently said at the International Astronautical Congress that she expects in her lifetime, and she's not the youngest, that there will be a breakthrough in propulsion technology that will enable us to leave this solar system. I don't know if she was just guessing, but the other thing that could be is that because she's involved, I mean, who's more involved into space technology than she is, and maybe she's heard something, or she's seen some projects that are still behind closed doors or something, maybe even from SpaceX, that make her say that. That was my initial thought. Of course it's wild speculations, and it could be just that she said that she hopes to and whatever, but she said that, and that would be amazing, actually, if there was something behind some closed lab door where they're working on something. Because with the technology right now, it'll be really hard to get out of our solar system. That's for sure. Yeah, you're welcome. Robalai says, I'm really curious what Blue Origin does. Hope they have made more progress than we know about. Right now they're working all hands on deck on the launch facility, and actually on the production facility. But the production facility is a little bit further ahead in the construction phase. I had an episode about that. Its title was Pad 39A on the thumbnail, at least. Watch that. That is the latest progress. And like I said, if the pictures from Dave are good, I'm definitely going to show them on the next episode, and we'll see how far they got in the meantime. Civilians, yeah. Elon Musk already said that it's going to be mostly civilians that are going to be sent to Mars later on, and the problem for civilians is you can't put them on the ISS because there's very little space, and it's reserved for scientists and trained astronauts, and you would need some sort of space hotels. There are lots of plans with Bigelow modules, and with the Gateway Foundation wanting to build the Von Braun station and all that kind of stuff, but it's all just paperwork. So, and that is needed if you want to go into space as a civilian. You need some sort of habitat or something. Dear Moon is going to be with civilians. That is definitely something. But until it becomes common that you can say, I'm going to go visit space next year, that's going to take a while, I guess. If Starship works perfectly, maybe 10, 15 years, 20 years, who knows exactly. But right now, no civilians in space. Or at least no people that aren't trained astronauts, because not all astronauts are military, of course, but they're all trained astronauts. Yeah, I agree, Devon. That Shotwell is the best last name for space exploration. Definitely, I thought that a million times before. All right, Airborne is asking, what is an ion engine? An ion engine, I'm not an engineer, so I'll try to get it off the top of my head. An ion engine is an engine that works not by chemical propulsion, but by accelerating gas out the back. Xenon, no, actually not even gas, I think it's just, or yeah, it's gas, xenon gas, and there's another gas they've been using as well. I can't remember the name though, and it's basically a very, very efficient way of propulsion because you need very, very little propellant, and which is the biggest well, the worst thing about a chemical rocket is the tanks, because you have so much weight, and on an ion drive you get rid of most of the tank weight. That is the benefit, but it has one downfall. Its acceleration is insanely slow. So that means if you have a space probe that is supposed to go to Pluto or some distant target, that is a perfect scenario for an ion drive, because it'll accelerate over weeks and weeks and weeks and go faster and faster and faster, and then is able to reach incredible speeds. But for crude transfer between planets, you will want to have instant speed and not just speed after half a year, because then the astronauts will have to spend a lot of time in space. And so ion drives are right now only good for probes, interplanetary probes, basically. James is asking, hi Felix, what are the new huge structures being built at Cape Canaveral? Which structures are you referring to? There are Blue Origin is building right now, the launch structure or the whole launch complex for New Glenn, and NASA is building the SLS launch mount, which is already standing though, and SpaceX is building a launch mount and a launch pad for Starships right next to to pad 39A. But that's going to be fairly small. I wouldn't know. What big structure do you mean? Steve is asking, why does SpaceX use a different parachute than Starliner? I would think they should use the same, safest design. It's because they're competition. And with us humans, as we love some competition, we do not share or we do not use the other's technology because that would expose us as being copycats or something. It's just because they're using their own technology. They've researched their own way, and the system is quite different actually than the SpaceX parachute. You can see it on the outside, and you can see how it works. It works differently. It's just that it's a question I've asked myself many times, why we just don't work together, because we would be able to accomplish a lot more things if we would work together, but we don't. So SpaceX and Boeing have different systems. Yes, they do, but both work fine if you don't forget the pin. So we'll see how that works on the next flight. I hope it'll work good. Vince is asking, what happens when there is bad weather? Will you still have internet with Starlink? Because if not, would that be a huge negative? That all depends on that K-band, which I am not familiar with. I don't know if that is affected by weather. It will be in some sort, but it could well be that it is very, very minor. If you have satellite internet, for example, you're affected by rain and snow, and but if you have a good antenna, that effect is really, really small. And so, like I said, I'm not familiar with that K-band technology, and so I can't honestly say, but yeah, you're right. That would be really bad if weather would affect your internet connection. That is for sure, definitely. Yeah, they use krypton gas, exactly. That is the Starlink satellites. That's the gas I couldn't remember earlier. It's xenon is used by NASA for all the interplanetary probes that have ion drives, and the krypton gas, there was even a benefit to the krypton gas. I think it was much cheaper. That would be fitting to SpaceX's way. I think it was because it was cheaper but more corrosive, as I remember. I think I even had it on an episode. I don't remember though. There's so many episodes. K-band, isn't that what police radar speed guns use? I don't know. Like I said, I am not really familiar with wireless connections and all that kind of stuff. So KU band for police. There you go. Is that all right, Mike? If you know anything about it, is it affected by weather? That is actually a pretty good question. Stinger, thank you very, very much. Sleep well. In a Mars moon colony, someone has to do the practical work as well. Yep, so civilians are bound to be shipped there. Yep, exactly, that's what I meant. As soon as you get to something that is a colony, you need normal workers, not necessarily astronauts, but just normal workers. But in the beginning, I think the first few starships that send people to Mars, the people inside will all be trained people. That they won't just be the normal guy that has a box of tools and is gonna fix the rovers on Mars. It's that'll come later, of course, but in the beginning it'll be specialists. I'm pretty sure, because it's gonna be really, really tough to survive on Mars. I've had a talk with Ryan, the Martian colonist, who actually is planning to go to Mars. He's also astrophysicist specialized in exoplanet atmospheres. Whew, there you go. And he agrees with me and says that the first people that will go to Mars and colonize Mars will have to be specialists and experts in in so many different fields that it is crazy. They'll have to do from dentist work to solar technician to environmental specialist to scientist to wow. And they'll have to do it all at the same time, because you'll have like, I don't know, 20, 50 people at most, and they'll have to manage to solve every situation that they could possibly encounter, because help from Earth takes what? At least 3-4 months? Yeah. So they'll be specialists, that's for sure. Yeah, Mike, I agree. That's what I meant. When the satellite dish gets snow on it and stuff like that, or if it even uses alignment due to wind and stuff like that, it loses signal. So that's probably going to be the same with a Starlink antenna. I was wondering as well if you have to put the Starlink antenna on your roof, or if you can just put it on your desk or whatever. I wouldn't know. It's probably better if it has direct line of sight to the satellite. Didn't Elon say something like that it needs direct line of sight? And that would also mean that weather could definitely affect the connection. So then maybe no Starlink for me, because I can't stream if it's raining. That wouldn't be good. We'll have to see. Thank you very much, Stuart. Much appreciated that you showed up. Yep, the pregnancy issue. I've heard that. Jake, yeah, that is a good thing. I honestly don't know how it behaves on Mars with a third of the gravity that you have on the Earth. I hope it is not a problem. Otherwise, we'd have to use some sort of artificial gravity on Mars. It's going to be interesting anyway to see how people are affected by Mars gravity levels, because it is not 0G, it is Mars gravity. It is not comparable to 0G, but we don't have much research on that. So it's going to be interesting to see how it affects the human body over a long time, because the first colonists that go there will find out, no matter if they want to or not. On the SpaceX feed? What do you mean? The deployment logo just appeared on the SpaceX feed? On what SpaceX feed? You mean on the live stream? There's nothing to see. Yep, that's what I thought. Ron, thank you. Yeah, it needs to be direct line of sight. Zoom out, Felix. Why should I zoom out? It's it's perfect. It took me 20 minutes to get that picture fixed. I'm not gonna touch the camera. The fairings are not gonna be recovered today, Caseverd. Unfortunately, I don't know yet why. We could check on Twitter if they twittered anything. Let me see. First reflight of the fairings, heaviest payload to date, fourth landing. Heaviest payload to date, that is interesting too. So the Starlink stack today is heavier than the Starlink stack the last time, because that was the heaviest payload to date. And now this one is the heaviest payload to date. Did they say anything why they didn't catch? Why they are not gonna catch the fairings? High seas, yeah. Alright, that's what I thought. Kazibert. Is that better? Azura, thanks for showing up. Yeah, 6 million per fairing. I heard before that that the two fairings together are 5 million or something, but 6 million per fairing could be too. It's very expensive, that's for sure. Thank you, Tony. Yeah, I wasn't too sure anymore if it was corrosive and less expensive. So they might have found a way to get rid of the corrosion in the thruster system. Xenon is expensive, that's for sure. Starship on schedule. GeForce is asking, do you think Starship is on schedule? It is hard to say if something is on schedule if it is a prototype. It is on schedule on some schedules, and it is not on schedule on other schedules. There are a few schedules, unfortunately, in existence for Starship, and every time a SpaceX official says something about that, it contradicts something somebody else has said before. So, I wouldn't so much go with a schedule on the Starship. That's what I like to say in the comment sections under my videos as well. It is a rough prototype. What matters most than more than a schedule is progress. If they continue to steadily keep progressing on what they want to achieve, it's going to be the same result in the end as if they would have fulfilled some sort of schedule. Because if you approach the public and tell them in 6 weeks Starship's going to fly, and it's not going to fly in 6 weeks, half of the people will be like, yep, that was to be expected, and the other half will be like, they never keep their schedules and stuff like that. So I'd rather have it they wouldn't publish so many schedules and just keep us up to date on what they're planning to do and in what time frame they are trying to achieve it. Because on this early prototype phase, it is really hard to come up with a good schedule that you can actually meet. So schedule is hard to say. Pal 9000, thank you very much for the super chat. That is much appreciated. Thank you. Thank you very much. The graphic at the bottom of the SpaceX livestream, which is off your screen again. That is the live stream. What do you mean? Oh, why is it off the screen again? I get it. But why? Why is it doing that? That is really strange. There you go. Huh. Alright, thank you for the reminder. I don't know why it's doing that. I'll check that next time. Every time on my live streams I have problems. But at least this time we didn't have any stuttering, no delays, no double audio. We got rid of all of that already, so we're making progress, same as Starship is making progress probably. You're very welcome, Marcel. It's a lot of fun for me as well. These live streams are basically, it is kind of strange to see. Every time I look into the statistics, I see like 50,000 people have watched my latest episode, and I don't know any of them, which is kind of sad in my opinion, because I haven't had the time yet to do a real meetup with any fans, and I would love to. So these live streams are one way for me to directly communicate with people that aren't patrons. So that's why I love them so much, and that's why I normally start them early and end them later, because yeah, like I said, it's a blast to talk to you guys. Thank you for showing up again. Gemma, thank you. Thank you very much. It's nice of you to watch. The fairings probably are down already. Yeah, been for a while now. They didn't catch them though this time because of high seas. So the ships returned back to port, and there's not gonna be a fairing catch attempt this time, which is really sad. I was so looking forward to them trying to catch both fairings, but that's how it goes. Rockets, space is hard. Infinity Drones. I am using, for my episodes, I'm using the Creative Cloud, Adobe Creative Cloud. So recording, editing, everything is done in the Creative Cloud. Even the thumbnails is done in Photoshop. It's just because I know Sony Vegas as well, which I actually like more for cutting and editing videos, but the Adobe Cloud gives you so many programs are interlinked, working together, so that's a big benefit. That's why I'm using that. I am located near the Nürburgring. That's a really nice German word. The Green Hell, that really famous racetrack. I am so close to it that I can hear them race when I open up the window and there's a race going on. So I'm in Germany, really close to the really famous racetrack. Thank you, Matthew. They were fishing him out of the... Oh, there you go.
Starlink. We are having a little trouble with the video on board the vehicle, but we are still getting telemetry, so you may see that video cut in and out a little bit right now. But so far we've had a on-time liftoff, completed the first reflight of a fairing, the first time that we've flown and landed a first stage booster, and we also did confirm nominal insertion or good orbit of the second stage. So coming up next is SES-2 in about 20 seconds from now. And this will be the shortest SES we've ever had, lasting just about 1 second. It's a short burn because the deployment orbit for these satellites isn't much different than our initial parking orbit, so we just need a quick burn to get us there.
Just
Waiting
1
for that
second.
SES-2 and SECO-2.
That is awesome.
It's going to be very quick.
And back ignition.
And there it is.
Et voila.
And second engine cutoff is complete. Waiting to hear for good orbit. Should hear that call out in a few seconds.
Nominal orbit insertion.
Nice.
Or satellite deploy.
And
Nice.
there
We're
is
on
the
track.
confirmation of good orbit. Now that we're in a good orbit, we'll be coasting for the next 15 minutes or so. So we will be back around T+1 hour for the exciting payload deployment of our
Yes.
Starlink satellites.
Okay, perfect. Very nice. Let me turn that down a bit again. All right, we got good orbit insertion and 1 second burn to do that. That is amazing. That needs to be really precise for that to happen. The engine needs to be really precise for that to happen. That is really cool that they pulled that off. Next up, satellite separation. And it's going to be amazing. Last time it was just crazy how they all flew into space. I'm really curious if they changed that behavior, if they're going to have some sort of segmented separation or something, or if they're just going to do it the same way they did last time. There we go. Put me back up here. Fridolin, very nice. Enjoy the Discord. It is so much fun to be on that Discord. I've been on a lot of different Discords in my life and other forums and stuff like that. And what I have to say about the What About Discord is that every single person on that Discord is somebody I like to have there. There's not a single person where I would say, sometimes he disturbs everything. Not a single person. So enjoy staying on that Discord. There are a lot of nice people. Just say hi and everybody will respond, I'm pretty sure. Okay, we got more questions. Let me just filter this real quick. Look at what komm mal her. Du musst mal da reingucken. Schau mal da musst du reingucken. Pass mal auf. 1 second. Because my daughter always wanted to be on a show, and here she is. Now she can... Guck mal da, siehst du das? Siehst du die ganzen Leute und die sitzen da und quatschen?
Welche Leute?
Die ganzen vielen Leute, die den Raketenstart gucken. Ist das gut? Ja, dann gehen wir wieder runter. Lauf.
Welche viele Leute?
Ganz viele Leute sind da. Ganz viele Leute, die sitzen da und reden mit mir. Aber jetzt muss ich wieder mit denen reden. Geh mal wieder raus. Danke.
Hallo, ihr Leute.
Tschüss, Helena. Vorsichtig. So that was my daughter, and I held her into the camera because she always wants to be on an episode, and I really at one point I'll have to make her say Starship updates or something because she's really eager to be on the show. So, and she brought me a German Zuckerbrezel. We had yesterday we had St. Martin's Day, and or actually the day before. Oh god, I got so much stuff to do. I think it was yesterday. And you get these sugar pretzels on St. And I'm probably going to eat it after the live stream because it's really sugary. But she brought me that, and I'm really happy. And she always wants to be on the show. So I All right, I wanted to answer some more questions. Let me see. They look too close together. Yeah, James, what do you think about the gait of the legs on the Starship? They look too close together. Actually, when I look at these legs, I think everything about them is off. That is the one thing where I'm really scratching my head why SpaceX is doing it the way they are doing it. So I don't know. They are too close together. They are too straight down. They are too flimsy. They are really, the retraction system looks really strange in my opinion. So there's a lot of questions I have about those legs. So I'll probably be covering these legs really closely on my episodes. If there's something changing about the legs, you can be sure to see it on the episodes, because that is the one thing I find the most curious. Everything else I can logically explain. The legs, I can't. People are going with dynamic adjustment of the leg length when they are landing, and of course, but why not make them spread out a little bit more? I don't know. Well, we'll see. The legs are confusing to me, though. I totally agree. Ginny V is asking, will such an amount of satellites cause any risk for re-entering missions from space? Yes. I don't know. I really hope these Starlink satellites won't cause any trouble. And like I said before, I think there have been many experts looking at this, and all of them seem to have said it's okay. But I can see it to become a problem, yes. But I hope it's not going to be a problem. But that's all I can say about it, really, because I'm not a satellite orbit technician or whatever that job is called. So I can't honestly tell you. That is, I hope there is not going to be any trouble with the Starlink satellites, because it is an awesome system, and if it works, it's going to change the world. And if crashes can be avoided, it would be even better. That's for sure. Yes. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. I love the nick. Is asking, make a prediction to what color the Starship will be. White, silver, black, gold. It's going to be silver, of course. Musk already said that the reflection of the Starship actually helps reflect away heat. So he's going to keep the reflective silver look. It's going to be even more polished and even less dented. So it's going to be even more shiny on the finished versions. I don't know if they'll ever look like a normal rocket, so completely smooth on the outside, because I don't know if it's really necessary. That's something I've asked myself a few times now, because we're always looking at these starships and we're saying, but it looks so rough and so unprofessional because there are dents in it and stuff like. I understand that if there are really gaps in between these plates, that is going to be aerodynamically bad. But if it's just a little dented, is it so bad? And it would reduce costs. So I don't know if it's ever going to be completely flush, shiny finish. I don't know what he anticipates to have as the final version. Is it practical to catch fairings with flying drones, parachutes? Rambo Smith is asking. It would be possible to catch them with a helicopter, and I've asked myself why they didn't try that yet. Because, for example, Rocket Lab is going to catch their booster hanging on a parachute, coming down for recovery. So it is possible to do that, but SpaceX seems to have found a solution with the ships, and it seems to be working. So, yeah. I don't know if it's more cost efficient. Maybe it's because it's so much downrange, because it's on the ocean. You would have trouble with range on the helicopters, because helicopters don't nearly have as much range as an airplane, because they don't generate lift with their wings. So the flight is rather inefficient. So it uses a lot of propellant in flight, and it doesn't have that much range. So that could be the case. I don't know, or it's just too big, too heavy. I don't know, but they chose the boats, and it seems to be working. Yeah, as SEHH. I don't know how to pronounce that better. Starlink may get rid of that lag as well. If you mean the stream, I have it on the lowest possible setting for latency right now. It would actually be interesting to see how much it is today, because last time I had insane trouble with latency problems. Let me just go into the live stream room here and see. I'll open if I lift my hand now and then I count. 6-7 seconds. It's pretty good. But yeah, Starlink will reduce latency across the globe. It's going to be, what did he say? 24 milliseconds is going to be the average delay amount. So that would be really, really, really good. Not the fastest fiber optics cable to the United States through the ocean achieved 24 milliseconds. So that would be awesome. What is Rambo? HBCA. What's CA would be California and HB would be? Oh, Mallory. My opinion on Blue Origin is the more competition, the better. And I really admire what Bezos is doing there, because I would do it too. If I was a billionaire and I'd have too much money, I would definitely spend it on rockets. I would probably give it to SpaceX because they already know how to do it pretty well. But still, I understand the desire, and I really appreciate what he's doing, and I hope he has success with New Glenn and New Armstrong later on. He's not as far as SpaceX. Nobody is right now, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't try. If you would argue that SpaceX is in the lead and nobody will ever catch them, it would basically mean that nobody should ever try, but they should. Everybody should try to catch SpaceX. So go Blue Origin, go Link Space, go Rocket Lab, go Ariane Space, go everybody, go Roscosmos. They are all planning and actively working on reusable rockets. They are all not going to be as good as Starship, of course, but they're all trying to keep up. Virgin, exactly. And so on and so on and so on. There are so many, and I appreciate the effort from every single one of them, including Blue Origin, of course. What about feeding the hungry? Yeah, that is a very important thing, but it is not space related. I've put that under many comments under my videos whenever something like this comes up. For example, shouldn't we save the planet first? Yes, we should save the planet, and it should be the top priority. But that doesn't mean you can't have other priorities. The total amount of money being put into the space business, into the space industry, is diminishingly small compared to everything we have resource-wise on the planet. And if we were wise enough, we would put more of that into helping others. But it's changing. It's getting better, in my opinion. So let's not lose hope. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't build rockets. That's what I always say. So don't be political on the channel. This live stream is about Starlink and rockets, and not about saving the hungry people. But yeah, I agree. We should save the planet. That is for sure. Epic Daniel is saying the stream delay is 2 minutes, but I'm living in Germany. That is kind of strange, because for me the stream delay is like 6 seconds or so, and I'm watching it on YouTube as well, because I have it here on the live stream control room, or whatever YouTube calls this. So there shouldn't be that much of a delay. ULA? Nah. Yeah. As soon as ULA does something that fits into reusable rockets, besides catching engines, which is rather strange, and I'm not too sure if they're ever going to do it actually. Yeah. As soon as they start building reusable rockets, they'll be in the club of the people that I mentioned. Thank you. Yeah, 5 seconds. It should be like 5, 6, 7 seconds, which is the lowest you can get basically on YouTube. I have it on the extreme low latency setting. That's what it says. It even prohibits me from streaming at 1440p or 4K resolutions at 60 FPS, because I can't do that at that low latency. So it should be good. Sehr schön. Thank you. Sehr schön. Very nice. All right. Yeah, this is I gotta say, this is the most stable stream I've done so far, and I'm so happy that I'm finally getting the hang of all this stuff. I've got 3 monitors here, where on each monitor I have a separate thing. I have 2 chat windows on this monitor, and I have the live stream window here, and I have the live stream whatever thingy from YouTube here, the control room, that's what they call it in English, and so on and so on. And I have 3 programs running to do all the different stuff, and it was, since I'm not doing live streams so often, it took me a long time to figure it out. This is number 4, I think, live stream number 4, and where I do 4 episodes in 2 weeks, so I have more iterations on the episodes than on the live streams, and I'm really happy with this right now. I'm going to keep this setting. This is good. 1 to 2 seconds, Southern Germany. Yeah, perfect. That is how it should be. Perfect. Very nice. Thank you for the feedback. Starlink enabled the Starlink enabled iPhone will have to wait a while because the antennas will be too big. There we go. Let me just turn it up.
The satellites will appear to be kind of clumped together, but that's totally normal. As you can probably imagine, 60 separate separation systems is super inefficient. It adds mass, it adds complexity, and therefore it adds cost. Instead, we deploy them all at once, allowing them to slowly disperse from one another, and to do so without the use of complex mechanisms. They might even bump into one another, which, if that happens, is totally okay. The satellites were designed with this possibility in mind. All right, we lost the video just there, but let's listen in and see if we have any word on the deployment.
Starlink tension rod release confirmed.
And as you just heard, we have confirmation that the tension rods have been released. Let's see if we can get some video of that. That would be really awesome. There we go. Now, as they make their way off, next they'll start to slowly drift apart and then deploy their singular solar array pointed at the sun to begin charging their batteries. And over the course of the coming weeks, the satellites will use their onboard ion propulsion systems to raise their orbit to 550 kilometers, align into their orbital planes, and properly space themselves out to providing internet coverage on Earth. And with that, that brings us to the end of our webcast for today. So to recap, we had a successful 4th launch of a booster and a successful landing of that same booster. We reflew a fairing successfully for the first time. Both of those things are pretty cool, but also cool, you just saw we deployed 60 more Starlink satellites. This puts us one step closer to being able to offer Starlink internet service to customers across the globe, including people in rural and hard-to-reach places who have struggled for access to high-speed internet.
Thank you to the 45th Space Wing for range safety.
All right, here comes Sankey saying, I know that I was muted. I was just so excited that I had to say something anyway. The tension rods. So it was the same thing again. This really strange looking deployment mechanism. It's sad that the camera didn't pan up a little bit so we could actually see them fly away a little bit more. But actually, to me, it looked like they were even more shiny than last time. Didn't it look like they had mirrors attached to them or something? Maybe it is to annoy the astronomers around the world. Just how can we make them more shiny or something? I don't know. So yeah, they now, as you saw, they released them at 300 kilometers altitude, same as last time. Nope, we're not going to do that. And we don't need the timer anymore. There we go. So they are going to gain altitude with their ion thrusters now. It'll take a while. Like last time, it took them like a week or 2, as I remember, until they have operational height, and then they'll start first tests and interlink with each other, and then everything should be good to go. what really surprised me when we looked at that. Can I get back to this again? Should be able to. Let me see real quick if I can get back to that. There we go. Should be able to. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. Okay, I'll show you that separation again. Give me a second. Here, there you can see it. Look how shiny they are. Were they that shiny last time? It looks like mirrors or something. It's crazy. And these are antennas, obviously, and these are the rings where the tension rods are in, and these rods go all the way through the whole stack, and they're just being pulled out of the stack, and then the whole thing flies away and separates. And as she said, they are even built to be able to crash into each other, which is insane. No other satellite company would have ever thought of doing something like that. It's just awesome how they always just go a different way. No, they didn't catch the fairings. Rough sea. The fairing catch was cancelled, unfortunately. Jonathan Voice asked earlier, Felix, do you know if they've added support for other bands? They are supporting 2K bands right now. I don't know anything else further. Don't know about any FCC filings. I can't say, to be honest. I might research that actually to see if there are any further plans, but I'm not really firm with, like I said before, with these different bands of radio communication. That is not my expertise. So I might research into that, or maybe even some of my patrons might research into that, because they are doing a better and better job at helping me with researching for episodes, which is much appreciated. Jonathan, yeah, you're very welcome. How are they able to extend the solar panels of the Starlink satellites? Epic Daniel asked that. That is fairly easy. It's just tension. It's basically a spring mechanism, and once the panel itself is released from the satellite, it unfolds, and there you go. That is a very, very easy mechanism. It doesn't need to be pulled back again or anything. It's just one-time deployment. So that's a very, very easy mechanism. You can see it on the website, how it deploys. They have this little animation showing how the Starlink satellite deploys its one solar panel. Plus 134. Let me check. No, that's ice. Oh yeah, that is the ice question. I've seen so many Tim Dodd, the everyday astronaut. I've seen so many streams where he streamed rocket launches, and every time the question comes up, that is ice. That is ice that accumulates on the outside of the rocket itself, and when the rocket shifts or shakes because of the separation, for example, that ice flies away, and that's basically all that is. In 99.9% of the time you see something flying by like that, it is going to be ice. Yeah, solid oxygen, ice. Dian, you're very welcome. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say, Daniel. I totally agree. I would have loved to have the camera be set up a little bit higher up so you could see more of the satellites flying away, because this is like 20 frames of satellites. That's kind of sad. Or 50, 60 frames. That's basically it. But you can already see them separating here. It's such a unique system. You've never seen that anywhere before, and that is what surprises me the most with SpaceX, because many of the things they do, you can always say you can't see that anywhere else. It's SpaceX. They are the only guys doing that. That is the most awesome thing about SpaceX. I can get back to that beginning of that separation again, but I think that wasn't even on video, if I remember right. Yeah, there you go. They were already flying, which is kind of sad as well, because I would have loved to see the rod being pulled back. That would have been nice too. Yeah, but there you can see. It's crazy. And they are going to release 40,000 of them. I mean, imagine a Starship cargo bay full of these satellites, and it's just pushing them out. That's what? I'm so looking forward to that. That is going to be amazing. Honest G, thank you for joining. Have fun at work. Satellite ping pong. Yeah, exactly. It's a really strange thing. It's really strange how they do this. Very logical though. So they always seem to find a way to do it smarter than everybody else. It's insane. All right. Any more questions? I'd have like another 10 minutes or so. If somebody has a question for me, now's the time. I'm sitting in front of the camera and it's like just 5 seconds delay. So shoot the questions if you have any more of those questions. And if you haven't yet, click the like button, click the subscribe button if you're not subscribed yet. Consider becoming a patron. All of these things help equally, actually. Even a like helps me a lot. So if you got the time, click the buttons and do something good for what about it. I've got a lot of Australians on the Discord, so I'm learning Australian accent here. What's my favorite German food? Bratwurst. No, I don't know. There's a lot of tasty German food. Random question. Germans are good cooks. I like German food. Would love to join them. I could imagine some mechanics that would improve this space game. Yeah, like I said, just it's $1 per month. It's just basically, it's an entrance fee that I have integrated into the Discord so it doesn't get so insanely crowded. That is the biggest reason why I've done that. It's $1 per month, so it doesn't, you won't even know that it's gone, but it'll keep the Discord free of spammers and all that kind of stuff, flat earthers, anybody who's just joining to stir up or to cause trouble, because they won't pay that $1. It's not worth it to them. So on the Discord, you'll only find people that want to be there. So that's why that $1 is in place. It's not, well, it helps if thousands join, but it's not the reason why. It's everything above that really helps the channel itself. If you have like $5 or $10 a month, that helps insanely. But the $1, you get the Discord for that, and it's worth it. $117. What do you mean? If the CIA is not involved in Starlink, they won't have any heat or IR vision. They are just communication satellites. I would wonder if they had any cameras at all. Which would be a really nice thing, though. I mean, if it goes into the wrong hands, as always, it could cause a huge amount of trouble. But imagine a Google Maps that is in real time. You could actually do that with a Starlink system. If every Starlink satellite had a proper camera on board, it would be insane. But not that I know. No cameras. Bye Marcel. If you had a second ticket into space and could take anyone with you, who would you take? If I could find a babysitter, it would be my wife, because she already told me that she wants to go to Mars. So yeah, it would be my wife, definitely. She's a really big space nut as well, and it would definitely be my wife I'd take with me. Split second mom. She's one of the moderators. That is my wife. And I would ride the Starship together with her, holding hands probably. That would be awesome. They didn't catch the fairings. No fairing catch attempt today because of high seas, bad weather. They got the boats back into the harbor. Actually, they went halfway and then turned around. You're going, no questions asked. Yeah, exactly. Like I said before, I think on the last live stream, if Starship actually does Earth-to-Earth travel at one point, and it's really just business class prices on normal airplanes, I will definitely try to catch a ride. That would be insane, even if it doesn't go to space. It goes ballistic, it goes above 100 kilometers, even on the Earth-to-Earth flights. And that would be, I mean, imagine. Yeah, imagine. I would definitely do it. You would hold hands with me. Yeah, I know. Thank you, Lone. Much appreciated. We would all build a big circle in the Starship and hold hands. I see us smiling, going into space. The vomit comet, exactly. Yeah, it would be fun. If they plan to do that, count me in. I would definitely save for a ticket to do that. It doesn't even matter where it goes. It's just for the ride, basically. I would take a normal airplane back or something. They might... Triple was asking, so are the fairings lost? They might be pulling them out of the water, but the problem with pulling a fairing out of the water is that it got in contact with salt water, which is very corrosive and it is very bad for the fairing. So they might try to refurbish them then. I don't know, but I heard that they are still trying to pull them out of the water at least. Oh wow, did I just read that? One of my moderators just sent me a reply by Epic Daniel, and it says my whole classroom was watching your stream when the Falcon 9 launched. Is that so? That would be really, really epic. The main reason why I created this channel is to educate people about space, and if there is a school class watching my live stream, I would be so honored. That would be epic, actually. Very nice. Thanks for telling me. Yep, I know. Odysseus. Hey, Odysseus, nice. Thanks for joining. I didn't even read a chat from you yet. Thanks for joining. Yeah, I know. There are fairings reused that hit the water before, but it is much easier to reuse a fairing if it hasn't touched the salt water yet, because that is instantly bad for the fairing if it touches the water, if it hits the water. So it is always better to catch the fairing. That is seriously epic. German students are very interested in spaceflight. Thank you, Daniel, for letting me know. That is really, really nice. James asked me what my profession is. My profession? Ahoo! No, my profession is a full-time YouTuber. Before, I was a sales representative for an international company selling office equipment, and I hated every minute of it. Hope that none of my old work colleagues are watching right now. I was a good sales rep, but it is not creative, and I didn't really like it. So I always worked in the media business, though, as side jobs, wherever I could, basically. I worked at radio stations. I worked at a big publisher, a book publisher. I worked at a big TV station, Deutsche Welle, if you know it. Maybe if you're from Germany, you might definitely know it. If you're from Europe, you might know it as well, because it does international television for countries that don't have objective television stations. So you can receive it in all these in Afghanistan and Iran and Iraq and wherever. It is really hard to get honest news, and that's where they broadcast, and I worked for them. So I've always been in the media business, but just as a side job, because I never learned the media business. and I've always been a hobby astronomer and really crazy about space, and that I combined the two things 6 months ago. So basically now I'm a full-time YouTuber. I don't do anything else, but what about it, and have a lot of fun with it. That's for sure. All right, guys. I think I'm gonna call it tonight. It's already past 5 in the afternoon here, and actually I'll have to answer some of the comments on the recently released episode, because I released the episode and then I basically just jumped into getting the last preparations done for the live stream, and it was a lot of preparations because the new set, I couldn't use the old camera position. I had to arrange everything new, but it worked. And it worked quite well. So I'm gonna take a little break, and then probably you can see me answering questions on or comments on the new episode, because I love doing that as well, and I always wonder why others don't do that, but they probably are much busier than I am, I guess. Yeah, greetings back to Belgium. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you. Nobody expected every time I read the nickname. It's really good. Thank you very much. All right. Have a great evening, or a great morning, or a great night, wherever you are on this planet. And I'll, as always, leave the stream running for another 10-15 minutes or so. I'll just put music in the background so you can keep chatting if you want to for another 10-15 minutes. And I'll probably be watching the chat as well, at least after like 10 minutes or so. And I'll see you all on the next live stream. That is going to be probably... I'm definitely going to stream the Crew Dragon abort, in-flight abort, and everything crew related. As soon as Starlink comes up, I'll definitely stream that as well, and I hope that they'll do a good job providing us with video, because honestly, besides Rocket Lab and SpaceX, everybody does a horrible job in my opinion, and so I don't like streaming other launches that much. I might be streaming the Rocket Lab launch. I don't know yet, though. All right, I'm babbling again. Have a great evening. Thank you very, very much for joining. Thank you for every super chat I got, every like, every view that you put on my episodes. It is so much appreciated. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Everywhere you go, light follows. Everywhere you go, light follows. Light follows. Follows. Everywhere you go, light follows. Everywhere you go, everywhere you go, light follows. 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 Everywhere you go, light follows.